I really like these videos because I can not have to have any kind of big production making them. So yeah, I'm here today. Good afternoon, everyone. I am back with another video. So I want to finish the story from the other time. When I arrived in France, I called the woman, the angel I called her, who gave me the money, and I really needed that money. Like no lie, I really needed that money, and I don't know how she knew that I really needed it, but she did. So yeah, she gave me the money. And I arrived in my town. I called her to let her know that I was there. And we maintained contact for a long time. And I remember she told me I could come to her place for Christmas time. So, Christmas time came around. I think it was like a day before I went on Christmas break, which was December 22nd or 21st, something like that. So I called her and she was like, yeah, Francois, it's fine. I'll be here. Just let me know exactly when you're coming up. And I was like, cool. So the day before Christmas, it was Christmas Eve, I was in Tours. I was in another city that was to like to the southwest of Paris, about an hour or 2 hours away. So I called her and there was no answer. And I was like, this is weird. She told me that I could call her. And I called her back before I left the place where I was that same day. And when I called, it was like, this number no longer exists. So I was like, what is going on? Like, I speak to her pretty frequently. She told me she was going to be there. She's not there. And I know that she travels back and forth between Paris and Washington because of her job. She was an architect, but she wasn't there. And the number was like, this phone number doesn't exist. And I'm just like, okay, she really was an angel. She really was an angel because she came out of nowhere and gave me help exactly when I needed it. And a lot of people tell me when I tell them this story, they're like, oh no, Francois is not an angel. It's just you like manifesting, you needing support, you needing help during that time. And I'm like, I don't know what it was, but I just know that I made a big mistake by not fully appreciating or fully estimating how much money I would need to travel abroad. And I had to rely on a stranger's help. Thank goodness there was a stranger there to help me. And again, I don't know how she knew that I needed this help. Maybe it was the universe, maybe it was whatever, but she came and she helped me. And I just felt so ingratiated to her for that assistance. But this just goes to show you that you need to really prepare to travel abroad. Like, there is no just, I hope I can travel abroad. I wish that these things will happen. I can get my passport easily, but I get my passport, what do I do then? It's so much more than just getting your passport. You have to research. And I didn't research very well at all. I didn't, which put me in that position. But luckily, I was able to get out of that position. And I learned something else also besides needing to really prepare, to profoundly prepare for living abroad. And that was the value of community. You need help. You can't do everything on your own. And I know that I can't do everything on my own. I have a big problem with that. I always think that I can do a lot of the things in my life on my own. And I think it's because of how I was raised. I was raised by a single mother. I have 3 younger sisters, and I was very used to always helping my sisters to read, cooking food for them, changing their diapers, changing bottles, getting all of the baby stuff ready. I did this for a long period of time, which is probably why I don't have children now. I want a wife, I want children, but for some reason, I think maybe this is the block, right? But anyways, I'm very used to playing like the hero role in life. And I need to understand that even if I want to play the hero role, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be the hero. I mean, you shouldn't try to save everyone. Some people are just not worth being saved. But it doesn't mean that if I decide to be the hero that I can't ask for help. Like, even Superman has the Justice League. Even Captain America has the Avengers. I was looking for like another comic book reference. So it's okay. It's really okay for me to ask for help. It's really okay for me to not do this alone. And it's another thing that I've learned, especially living in Korea. Like, I need to have I need to have assistance, I need to have help. And now that I'm here in Kazakhstan and I'm just recovering from having the flu, if I didn't have a colleague or co-workers who thought about me often, who messaged me often, who came by, picked me up to take me to the doctor, to take me to the pharmacy, to send me food, to send me medicine and things like that, I'm pretty sure I would be sicker than I would have been if I did not receive that help. I'm pretty sure. And I'm pretty sure that even right now, I wouldn't have all my energy back. I wouldn't be able to talk to you now because I would still be reeling from the virus. But yeah, living abroad, it just teaches me that, Francois, it's okay to make friends. Be careful with the people that I make friends with, because there are some who are out there and they want to use me, and they have used me. And I'm pretty sure that at one point I have used a person as well, not to the extent of taking money from them or treating them poorly, but I'm pretty sure that I've met people that were transient in my life and I used them for what they were there for at that time, and then they moved on. And I think people do that. Humans use each other, but it wasn't anything nefarious. There wasn't any ill intent behind it. However, when building a community outside of the United States, very important to find people who will be there to actually help you accomplish the things that you need to do. And you can receive this good energy from them, and you can also find a way to give them something back. Like, it's very important to not just receive, especially being abroad, because for some reason, like, I think the universe or the world does understand this. Like, if you're taking, you're going to, in my opinion, you're going to find yourself in positions where, people are going to start just taking from you. And maybe this works, maybe it doesn't, because there are some people in the world who just take, and their lives are very good. But as far as me, I just think it's super important to find this good community. And when I was in France, I was able to find so many people who helped me, and I was able to help in turn. I found my god sister, and her parents became like my godparents while I was there. And she would always take me from my town, which was like Châteauroux. It was a countryside town in the center region of France. She would take me from there to her family's home in Tours, the city that I mentioned earlier. And they would feed me well, they would take me to the movies, they would just treat me as if I were a part of their family. And it was just such an amazing experience. And I was able to, in turn, help them with English and, be there when the father and mother were kind of bored. They didn't have anyone to talk to. I was there. I was able to talk to them. I was able to, share my living experiences being in the United States. So yeah, it feels good now to actually say, it feels good to say this, that I don't have to do everything alone. And I'm happy for this experience, this eye-opening experience that happened to me on the plane and when I arrived in France, because I just always thought that I needed to be the lone wolf. And sometimes you do need to be the lone wolf. Sometimes you need to be that monk, or sometimes you need to be that, there was another person I had. It was like lone wolf, there was monk, and then there was there's another guy that I remember who's always alone, but I can't think of it now. I had it in another video, but sage or something like that, right? But it's okay to be that sometimes. But in order to progress in life, definitely need to have this support system around me. And I remember now in Korea, before I left, I was talking to one of my friends about progressing on the guitar. And he was like, wow, you got pretty far teaching yourself, but I think in order for you to progress, you have to do it with someone else. You need a teacher. You need someone who can instruct you in how to, move your fingers, how to place your fingers in your hands and things. And that really stuck out to me. It was like, okay, Francois, it's okay. It's okay to be alone, but remember, you're only gonna get to a certain point. by yourself. And then you're going to have to find people who are going to get you the rest of the way, which isn't a bad thing. It's just, sometimes it's hard to think that, especially when you see the world around you, how people sometimes can betray you. Sometimes people can, not be very kind. But at the same time, for however many people there are that are probably not kind or who are just out for themselves, there's an equal number of people who are opposite, who are kind, who can help. And it's up to us, it's up to me to go out and find those people. And sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes you want to be alone, which is fine, but being abroad and being alone, it's not easy. And I remember also in Korea, there was a couple of times when I was scammed. I allowed myself to be scammed. I wasn't scammed. I allowed myself to be scammed because I was greedy. And I was rushing, and I wanted something now, instead of waiting. It's okay to wait. And instead of talking to another person, asking them about this deal that I was about to do. And actually, I checked. I had another person to check out this deal for me. And they went to the supposed place where I was going to receive this camera equipment. And she told me like the store wasn't there, but I still had it in my mind that I wanted to get this camera and I wanted to get this lens. I wanted to get it for a very, very, very cheap price. I should have known that I can't get it for this price, but I wanted it. So I ended up sending money to a person on Facebook Marketplace, and they didn't send me the product. And they sent me like all of these like different messages saying warning, and you have to pay money to get these things through customs and stuff. And yeah, it was my fault. It was my fault that I was greedy, I rushed, I allowed myself to be scammed, especially after I had someone help me. So I guess that goes to show you that even though there can be people around you, being patient, especially living abroad, because I swear, and we're going to talk about this, I'm going to talk about this in another video as well. When you move abroad, you have to understand, especially me, I have to understand that people have to take care of themselves. Even though you can find a community of people to help you, it's not their responsibility to help you. People help you out of the kindness and goodness of their hearts. And I have to remember that. And I think a lot of people don't understand that as well, because I run into a lot of people in Korea who they run out of resources, and they think that just because you're around them, you're supposed to support them when they run out of resources, instead of them trying to find a way to earn money in order to get those resources back. So yeah, I guess that would be another video to talk about. But I do feel better after explaining how, I don't have to be alone all the time. I don't have to do things alone. And when people come into my life and want to give me help, it's okay to accept. So yeah, thanks a lot, guys, for watching. I hope you come back for the next video, and I hope you get some value from it. I really do. Just sharing my life experiences of me living abroad for 18 years. France, Korea, now Kazakhstan. Anyways, see you next one. Peace.